We already live stream, so everyone just be aware, meeting isn't technically called to order yet, but we are live.
Okay.
I don't know Steven's contact.
He did respond to email when I emailed him.
My mouse was actually hovering over the send button on an email canceling today's meeting. And Nadine came in just in the nick of time, told me not to send it. So
I just emailed Steve. Okay, well, we rely on technology, and I guess we can discuss as a group as well. If we want to choose to meet in this fashion or have our next meeting either live or hybrid, right?
Sean, you said that Steve's relatively responsive to emails.
He was, when I told him we were delayed, he just said thank you, and then I see him now to
Perfect.
assume he's probably.
I did send him a quick email and let him know that if he's still available, we're a go.
Okay, and Sue.
Her too, because I was back and forth with her on something else.
And Sue's birthday today.
Oh,
Yes.
That's how we'll start our introductions.
Yeah, she's not here, so we can say that.
So we do have regrets from Councillor McKenna.
Yeah, he's at a health unit meeting, I believe, in Toronto. Okay, sent Sue a text, but unless maybe somebody else had to.
Yeah, I just texted Sue.
Okay. So technically, I guess we don't have quorum, or do we have quorum now?
I'm just actually trying to review the procedural to determine that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we have 50% plus one right now.
Majority is not defined in the bylaw. That's what I'm struggling with.
As long as Danielle and Peter are okay for a couple minutes, we'll try and hang in here until.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Makes our job a little easier.
And there's Sue.
Hallelujah, eh?
Hey.
Yes, thank you, Susan. So if the
Okay.
four of you are ready, I can call the meeting to order.
Steve is rejoining right now as well. So let's give Steve a chance to come in, I guess.
I'll wait a moment then.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Susan.
Oh,
Birthday.
thank you.
Oh.
Very Sue.
Thank you very much. A neighbor came. I mean, is that not just gorgeous?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I was on a walk in Ottawa yesterday and I saw the most spectacular blue, white, and purple iris. It did not even look natural. It was quite something.
Blue, white, and purple, striped.
Seemed to be, yeah. I didn't. It was a little bit in the lawn. I didn't want to. I didn't want to be too nosy.
You know, go and be a guerrilla gardener and help yourself. No.
Yes, unfortunately, I think there's someone on the weekend who was helping themselves to some of the annuals in the downtown.
Oh, God.
Yes, apparently had a grocery cart, was pulling some out and taking them to I guess his home.
Oh, man, oh man. You'd sort of wish that they'd do that with some perennials if they're going to do anything, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Mary, do you want go ahead, Mary with the Atlantic.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
And then Steve will come in hopefully in time for the introductions.
Perfect. And I'll just document what time he can get in. So we already live streamed, but welcome to the first meeting of the Climate Protection Working Group. Our apologies for the delay to the public. So I'm going to start off this meeting by reading the Town of Smith Falls Land Acknowledgement Statement. On June 13th, 2023, we acknowledge that the sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in making the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, being mindful of generations to come. So I'll now move on to the next item on our agenda, which is introductions. So I will begin, and then if members and staff would just like to jump in. So my name is Mary Remig. I'm the planning clerk with the Town of Smith Falls. I will be acting as your recording secretary and be a silent participant in most of your meetings, but I welcome you and I look very much forward to this term with this working group. Would anybody like to go next?
I'm Carl Granke, senior planner with the town and designated staff liaison with the committee. I think this is an exciting project, and I'm really looking forward to working on that with you. And I know Mary and Richard in the planning department. This is something we're honored to be tasked with the committee and the work that's being done. And we look forward to working with you and learning with you and doing some neat things with the town. Richard?
My name is Grant. I am Planner 1 working with the town, and I will be also the staff resource for this working group. I'm excited to be a part of this process.
I'm Peter Au. I'm with Rio and has been involved with some of the projects in town and stuff like that. Okay.
I'm Sue Brandom, and I am really enthused about this project with Smith Falls. I really am very hopeful about this particular committee. I've been involved with some others in the area with Tay Valley and with the county, and this one looks really promising. So very excited.
I'm Danielle Schufelt, public health nurse at the health unit, and I also am very excited about this group. Climate change is one of our priorities at the health unit, and it's definitely a passion of mine. So really excited to be here and see how we can work together.
Awesome. And before Steve comes on, I'm Sean Panko, Mayor of Smith Falls. Definitely value the effort of everybody here and your willingness to step up and participate. Obviously, something's very important to me. I think it should be important to all mankind, and hopefully we can make an incredible difference in our community, both corporately and within the community, and trying to ensure we meet the obligations I think we're all due to meet. And I guess Steve Goche is not here yet, but I assume he will be stepping in soon.
Sorry, I'm just thinking to myself, would we like to wait a few moments for Steve? I also got an email from him stating that he would be logging on shortly. We can always continue on with the agenda to appoint a chair.
I think we'll forge ahead, and Steve can come in when he can, I would suggest.
Yeah, my understanding is that Stephen will be here shortly. So we will proceed to item number 3 on the agenda, which is the appointment of chair. Do I have any nominations for a chair for this working group?
I would like to nominate Danielle Schufelt.
I will second the nomination. Danielle's willing.
Danielle, are you accepting of that nomination?
I am, but I will just say that I need a little bit of guidance because the chairing roles that I've done in the past, I've done chair many times, but in a much more casual way. So I just might need some help with the procedures and that sort of thing.
Absolutely, we'd be happy to assist. So I have down that, sorry, can I get a formal motion for appointment of Danielle Shefelt as the, as the Climate Protection Working Group's chair?
I'll second Sue's motion.
Perfect. And then Danielle, if you would like to take over the agenda, do you have a copy in front of you?
Not in front of me. I have to admit, I've been having technical difficulties as well with my health unit computer. I think I might have jinxed everybody. So yeah, are you able to pull it up or
I can pull it up. Just a second here.
I can pull it up myself. I just can't see you when I do that. So
That's okay. So the way I would pull it up is through shared screen. Is that going to be much better?
I can pull it up. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the appointment of vice chair. So
So, go ahead.
All right, I would nominate Sue Brandom as vice chair.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to decline. I do apologize, but I just feel at this point that it would be taking on too much. I really do apologize. I want to serve on this committee for sure, but I just can't take on an additional workload that way.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I will nominate Peter Rao as.
I'm in the same boat as.
We're narrowing down the choices there, people.
What about Steve in absentia?
I'm on the spot, unfortunately.
Sorry, Madam Chair. I know you're just getting used to this. I was going to say that if the committee would prefer to defer this item until we have a complete working group with us, we can defer this item for now and come back to it at our next meeting when we have more members present.
yeah, that makes sense. Do we have to first and second that?
Yes, if you don't mind a motion, that'd be helpful on my end.
Okay.
I'll move that.
Can we have a motion to postpone the appointment of the vice chair until the next meeting?
I'll move that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I think that's moved.
Just say all, yeah, all in favor.
All in favor? Like I said, I need some help.
No worries.
Okay, looks like we're good. So the next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or changes?
I would like to add one addition.
Okay.
And that is the county's draft climate action plan.
Okay, should we put that? Is there a certain?
It doesn't matter to me. I don't know if you want to have a standing new business, Madam Chair.
Project update? Is
I-
it a project update or is it roundtable update or?
It's the release of the draft for consultation.
Okay. Okay, well, maybe we can add that in before the project updates.
Sure,
Priority issue 4, I guess, would be
sure.
fair.
Any other additions or changes? Seeing none, can we approve the agenda with that change?
Motion to approve.
Okay, do we need a second?
Second it.
Okay, Sue Brandom, so all in favor? Okay, we're good. So the next one is disclosure of monetary interest. Are there any disclosures today? No, seeing none. We can move to the next item, priority issues. So item 1 is report CPWG 2301 draft mission statement. And Carl, I believe you're the one that was going to speak to this item.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. I'm going to kickstart the working business of the committee by an exercise that might be a little bit fun, and that's actually establishing the vision statement. So one thing that we recommend as on a committee of council is that a vision statement be adopted by the committee, and that encapsulates the working group's identity, articulates who you are and what you hope to achieve. So a vision statement generally is aspirational, communicates values and commitment to achieving the goals, and it's a nice thing to include at the bottom of every agenda, just for the public and to remind all of us what it is that we're working on. So as I think you've all had the opportunity to review the terms of reference that spell out committee's mandate, as well as the purpose for the committee. Certainly the climate protection, the Partners for Climate Protection program is sort of part of your core mandate, but definitely not limited to that. I think we're going to be looking at a lot of ways in which we can sort of assist and guide Smith Falls on a sustainable path. So so the recommendation to staff is that we do develop and that you adopt by resolution a vision statement for the working group. I have through the staff report, I've thrown down sort of an idea or a model just for discussion purposes, and I'll sort of let you guys work from that. But the first part of the draft vision statement here is a commitment that identifies the task and commits the working group to assuming that leadership role. And then the second part is an inclusivity statement that highlights that there's a role for everyone in the community in achieving our goals. And I think that's a very important part too, as we want the initiatives and take a leadership role that recognize that every resident, every business, big and small, has a role and can play a part. So I'll turn it back to the committee here to look at the draft vision statement and see what it is that you want to change, or if anything, and work from there. So I thank you for that and look forward to the committee's direction on this. And I do see that Steve Gauthier has joined in as well. So welcome, Steve.
Good afternoon. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I just had to juggle another call that came through. So nice to meet everyone. Good afternoon.
You too.
Did you
Does
want to give a little? Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, do you want to give an introduction, Steve? We
Sure.
did a bit of a round table for everyone
Okay.
else. So
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Steve Gauthier. I don't know what you want to know from an introduction point of view. I currently work for Amazon, more specifically Amazon Web Services is the cloud. I'm in the Toronto office. Before that, I was with IBM. Before that, I was with a software company called Cognos. So I'm not a techie person, but I work for tech companies. I've also been involved with some startup companies, which led me to kind of my interest in joining this committee. One startup company is actually a solar panel startup. So I'm an advisor, kind of board member with them. And then I've been like in healthcare, et cetera. I've been on committees for the hospital and boards for what used to be the local health integration network and now doesn't exist. But I have a house in Port Elmsley, but I also have a duplex in Smith Falls, so right on Queen Street. So
great, thank you.
Anything else you want to know?
Well, that's great. I'm sure we'll probably learn lots more about each other as we go.
Port Elmsley is very well represented in this group.
Isn't it?
Oh, is that right?
That was just occurring to me too, Carl. Yes.
So does everybody have access to the document that Carl sent out that we are reviewing?
Was it in the email that was sent out? Is that the document you're talking about?
Yeah, there were a couple documents in there. One was the agenda, the other one was
Mhm.
the proposed vision statement for us to consider. So any thoughts on what is there and if anything's missing and if we need to make any adjustments or changes to that?
I'll jump in. So I think it's a fabulous start. I really do. I always have a hard time with starting anything new with such a statement because I figure, a few months down the road or whatever, we may want to tweak things, make a few changes, whatever. So I just want to be sure that we're open to doing that, as we evolve. And I don't know if we want to establish now, a time to review it. Do we want to do that in a year's time or in 6 months' time? I don't know. But anyway, I just want to be open to that idea. And then the one specific recommendation that I would make is in the final sentence, says the working group recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change. I started with baby steps now 30 years ago, and we are so up against it now that I firmly believe that we need giant steps. And so what I would like to add to that sentence is a clause at the end that says, but strives for system change. So it would read, the working group recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change, but strives for system change.
Oh, yes, Sean.
I agree with Sue, but I'm not sure strives is even a strong enough word. That means we're going to try, right? And I think based and understanding where your passion lies, Sue, I think we have to make achievements. We have to accomplish our objectives both corporately and community wide. So I wouldn't say strive for community change, but is a catalyst for system change.
Great.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think the word and rather than but, because I think that's the ultimate. I had another thought as well about it, and I don't know if I have wording for it, but when I was looking at it, I'm just thinking about vulnerability, and that the people who tend to be impacted the most are already vulnerable in a variety of different ways. So just wondering if we want to tease that out in the vision where like we're acknowledging that the most vulnerable people in the community are going to be the most impacted, and considering that, I don't know.
It's just a suggestion, Madam Chair. Again, a clause at the end of the previous sentence then, so, and building resilience to adapt to a changing climate, especially for the most vulnerable of the community. Does that
Yeah, that would
address that?
That would address that for me. Any other thoughts on?
I mean, just going back to that expression, creating awareness. Again, I think awareness is already created. How do we ensure that it goes broader and deeper? So, I mean, enhancing awareness, but we have enhancing in the next part of that sentence. So I would say something there which suggests that we are going to build awareness, well, maybe build awareness or further build awareness.
Is it maybe more of an action word than awareness? Is it more the
Yep.
engagement or the
Yeah.
Yep.
acceptance of, or the?
Yes. Engagement probably is a good
Yeah.
word.
And Madam Chair, I'd like to also go to that part of the sentence, enhancing our tree canopy and building residents to adopt to a climate, fostering the reduction of greenhouse gas emission, looking at ways of sequestering carbon.
Mhm,
Good point.
mhm.
Well, not even look, I guess, implementing methods to sequester carbon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Mhm.
Right, because it's much broader. Any other thoughts?
Hope Mary's capturing all this.
Are you following all these changes, Mary?
I am, thank you.
Okay, good. Richard, did you have?
Yeah. I would just, can we just like take a moment and read the whole sentence first before we add anything so we know what we're all trying to encapsulate in the vision? I feel like we're adding a bit of things, so we need to just take a pause and review from.
I can do that. I'm just kind of making changes. I want to make sure that the working group agrees to most of the changes that have been discussed so far. I've written them all down and listed. I just haven't made it to the actual sentence structures. So to confirm, the last sentence should read, the working group recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change. And as suggested by Danielle, is a catalyst for system change. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I don't think so. Can we try that again?
Right.
Could I ask that maybe would you be able to share your screen to show us what you have typed in?
Yeah, you know what?
Mhm.
Let's do that. If I show my screen, then you guys can tell me exactly what changes I need.
Yep.
Just a moment here.
So one thing I did mention, oh, sorry, I just thought of it, which might.
Can you see that okay on my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I kind of have everyone's here except for Peter's because I think I missed it. But so we have the beginning of this was Susan suggested, but strives for system change. Sean, I had thought I heard is a catalyst for system change, but Danielle suggested removal of the word but and replacement with and. So this is what I had changed for the last sentence. Does anybody see changes there that need to be addressed?
I think what we mean in that is that actually the working group is a catalyst for system change. It's sort of in our multiple changes, we've ended up with the smallest impacts being the catalyst for system change. Am I right? And
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
yeah, so the working group recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change.
So,
I said the working group stands as a catalyst
mhm.
for system change
Yes.
and recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change.
Yes, nice. Yep.
Right. Right. Yes, yes, yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
That's correct.
Yeah,
For the last sentence, the working group stands as a catalyst for system change and recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change. Okay, next I had Sue suggested to address Danielle's comments at the end of the first sentence that we add, especially for the most vulnerable members of the community. So that would look like this. Oh. And then I also had, we were talking about the awareness section, and I think I wrote myself a note to look up what Peter had said later.
Oh, okay, what mine was following the let's see, reduction of greenhouse gas emission.
Okay,
Next part would be implementing methods of sequestering carbon.
incrementing,
Implementing methods of sequestering carbon.
and sorry, I'm gonna butcher that word right now.
Okay, implement, not increment, imprint.
I am, yeah,
Implement, yeah.
Right.
Sorry,
Implement,
I am.
IMPLE.
There we
I'm
go.
just having a hard time hearing you, Peter. That's what's that.
Okay,
Implements,
implementing methods of sequestering carbon.
I'm not sure why I'm having struggle, a hard
method.
time hearing you compared to anyone else. Can somebody give me?
Yeah, methods. Implementing methods to sequester carbon.
Implementing amendments?
No,
Method,
No,
methods.
METHOD. Yes.
Says,
There we go.
and sequestering?
To sequester carbon.
To sequester. Not sequestering, but sequester.
To sequester carbon, yeah.
To sequester carbon. And if we say that, that's the tree canopy. So do we remove that part?
Oh, no, tree canopy is another way, yeah.
Okay,
It's also important.
Implementing methods to.
yeah. So would that be an extension such as enhancing our tree canopy? Or
That would be in
Yes.
addition too, yeah.
although, I mean, the tree canopy is going to help with our resilience with heat as well. So
Yep.
it's kind of multi-purpose.
I think I'm missing something here. And I
Yeah, Mary, if you
probably
go back
am.
to-
Implementing methods to sequester, and then I had such as, so I think. that's-
Carbon, is to sequester carbon.
Right.
Basically putting carbon in the ground.
Right,
Yeah.
or absorbing it, or
To sequester carbon.
Carbon.
And I would say.
Sequester carbon such as enhancing our.
I would say including, rather than such as, including
Yeah.
enhancing our tree canopy and building resilience.
including but not limited to.
Yeah, yeah. Including but not limited to.
Everyone want to read that over?
I think you need a comma. I'm not good on grammar, but right after carbon.
Right after carbon. Could be, right?
Yes. Yeah, read the comment.
Yes, I think you're right.
Maybe it might help to end the sentence after tree canopy and have a new sentence that talks about building resilience
Yeah,
to
I'd
be
agree with that.
able to reinforce the building resilience so that it's not just one of a long string.
Yes, I think actually, Susan, I'm glad you raised that, because I think when that was drafted, we were looking at that as sort of a separate thought in terms of resilience, looking at ways, at sort of ways to mitigate the impact of it, such as flood protections, heating centers. How do we as a community respond, which is a bit different from sequestering and so on. So I think both very important to have, but a bit of a slightly different focus. So I think that's a good change.
Makes sense to separate the sort of the mitigation and the adaptation pieces to me too.
I think we need to turn that into a sentence with a verb then. So that climate protection working group.
We're adding a number of thoughts here. I'm wondering, just from a style perspective, would it make sense to potentially put some of these in point form?
Yes, I was thinking exactly the same, Carl. Yes.
So
Sorry, go ahead, Richard.
So so we're gonna break this up into bullet points, is that what we're saying?
That was a suggestion from Sue, yeah. Does that make sense to others?
I think so. I don't see why not.
So perhaps have some bullet points and then sort of concluding. I think that last sentence is something that can sort of conclude on its own within the main body of
Yeah,
the statement.
I think that will help with clarity and readability.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we could then adjust those first words to minimize, help, foster, implement, and reinforce, like,
Yeah, that we changed creating awareness to something else as well.
was there something, Sean, that you were,
Yeah, we said help the town and community become leaders in. What is, I remember what I said before, it wasn't creating awareness, it was
Yeah. We're gonna probably five.
you know, well, that's why we put it at the bottom, it's a catalyst for.
It's beyond creating awareness, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah, building.
Catalyzing, or we're already using catalyzing.
Building awareness or building.
Yeah.
Building action towards.
Integrating action.
engaging engaging the community to action or something?
Leading the community to action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, my apologies, which points are we speaking to?
Bullet 2.
2? Okay,
Rather than help the town and community become leaders, it's no, what do we say there?
I thought I heard something about catalyzing. Does that?
No, there's another word now, I forgot it.
Yeah, I know. I was there too. I'm thinking it wasn't engaging either. It was
No, it wasn't.
That was another thought.
leading the
Leading the town and
community.
community.
Help the town and community lead.
Leading.
leading the town and community to action. I feel like that it was
Yeah,
something.
so
Something like that.
rather than help, yeah, leading the town and community to the necessary action.
To take action or to.
To
Yeah,
take necessary action.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just grabbing what words I can and trying to pop them in for you.
I think you're doing great, by the way.
I do
Yeah.
too.
A half a dozen editors thrown at you.
Okay.
Richard, do you have your hand up for a comment?
Yes, I did. I was saying that we take out reinforce and just say build resilience for the last sentence, the last bullet point anyways, unless that's going to be a whole sentence altogether.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so remove reinforce and leave it as build resilience to adapt. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Yep.
So do we want to,
Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think.
Can there's something I'm thinking of here, that leading the town and community to take necessary action. Something in me, I want it to be long lasting. So that'll leave a positive and lasting impact for generations to come, or something along those lines. I'm just throwing out words for us to kind of noodle on, but I don't want it to be just something that lasts for 4 years, right?
Mhm. And are you thinking the positive lasting impact of the work or the ongoing work?
Oh, I'm not sure what that means. I'm thinking like, let's say we plant a bunch of trees. Obviously, trees are here for 20, 30, 50 years, but we're not going to plant poplars that maybe die in 10 years. We want something that's got some sight, that'll be much further on down the road. Or perhaps like cutting down a bunch of trees so we could put in a solar farm. Maybe that's not the right choice for the lasting generational impacts. Is that, I'm just throwing out ideas
Okay.
and nothing, but you know what I mean? That's,
Mhm.
I want it to be something that we're not looking at just, you know what, this is going to be great for 2 years because we're taking advantage of federal funding that's available. Well, that may not be the smartest thing to go with.
Okay, Richard. did you
How
have
about,
something?
how about changing, lead the town and community to take positive and impactful actions,
Can you repeat
Yeah.
that, Peter?
to take positive and impactful actions.
Mm-hmm. Impactful.
Right.
Yeah, impactful is a good word.
Yeah.
Or if we have the
You
impact of the next
read
sentence.
This section, is that correct?
Yep.
Lead the town and community to take positive and impactful actions.
Right.
Positive, impactful, and permanent
Mm,
actions.
yeah, there we go. That's a commitment.
Oh, I lost my cursor.
I'm thinking, I guess the question that I had for you, Steve, was related to the idea of having to be flexible and changing with
Oh, yeah, good point.
climate.
Sure,
So
of
I'm
course. And
like
technology and
yeah, rather than being one straight road, we're gonna have to probably meander. So I'm wondering if there's something around it being what's the word?
flexible, adaptable.
Adaptable. Yeah, adapting is to positive, impactful.
If I use techie words, agile.
Yeah, agile. That's the word I was actually looking for.
I don't know. That's what we use a lot here, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a bit of difficulty with the word permanent because long term means that if we see something wrong, we can still change. But
Yeah.
if it's
Well-
going to be permanent, it's going to be non-changeable.
Long lasting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
long lasting.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that agile, long lasting.
Is multi-generational
mm,
somehow?
or for generations to come, or yeah,
And I think of the indigenous thoughts, right? You
Now,
know,
theirs is the 7th generation, but
yes.
if you're long term, it could be longer than 7 generations.
Could that go in the first bullet where we talk about minimizing the harmful impacts of climate change at a local level for generations to come, or put the or future generations? I don't know what the best words for that would be.
Mhm.
Where do we put that in the last bullet point? Build resilience to adapt to a changing, or build generational resilience.
Oh, that's a good
Ooh.
one. I
Climate.
like that.
Yeah.
Great. I can't see everybody on my screen, so if anyone, I've got Peter, Sean, Sue, and Steve. If anyone else has thoughts. Please add those in.
Trying to think of a different word than agile. This doesn't really seem to fit. There's another word I'm trying to think of. but I
Yeah.
can't.
Flexible,
Um,
impactful.
Nimble.
Nimble's a good word, yeah. Big, positive, impactful. What if it's leading the town and community to take positive, impactful, and nimble action for long-lasting impact?
Perfect.
Or
Mhm.
yeah, take positive.
So positive and nimble actions for long lasting, so we can take the
Take out.
impactful out, right?
Right,
Mhm.
it's, yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
Yep. Because that actually does encapsulate taking advantage of new technologies, of new approaches.
Yeah,
I think we liked what we had there before, but I think we just rewrote it completely.
Yes, no, I know.
yeah. No, it's really
Base
good
of
to
it.
have it though, like it's a good jumping off point to have those thoughts down.
Mhm.
Would you like me to read it out loud before we take a motion, everyone?
Sure.
The Smiths Falls Climate Protection Working Group is committed to minimize the harmful impacts of climate change at a local level, lead the town and community to take positive and nimble actions for long-lasting impacts, foster the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, implement methods to sequester carbon, including but not limited to enhancing our tree canopy, and build generational resilience to adapt to a changing climate, especially for the most vulnerable members of the community. The working group stands as a catalyst for system change and recognizes that even the smallest impacts contribute to community-wide change.
I'd rather just take that last word of change, because system change, and even the smallest impacts are your community-wide benefit
Mm, yes.
or benefits.
Benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
A small thing, in the 1, 2, 3, 4th point, you can take out the comma after but not limited to. I saw you skipping over that, and that's it. I'd like to suggest that the second point become the first point, and that first point drop down.
Sorry, Madam Chair. Senior Planner Granke has his hand up. You're on mute as well, by the way.
This is going well. Yes, sorry, go ahead. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, just the sentence, just the reading, the way that the words link together. So Smith Falls Climate Protection Working Group is committed to, I think the next verb should end in ing, leading the town, minimizing, fostering, implementing, and building.
Okay.
I'm gonna take down my screen now. Is that okay, Madam Chair?
Yeah, do we want to do a motion to approve the changes that we've made so far? Okay,
With that,
Sean, and seconded by Susan. Thank you. All in favor? Okay,
awesome collaboration.
that was great.
Awesome editing there, Mary.
Yeah, way to
Thank you.
follow our train of thought. Okay, so we are on to a regular meeting schedule. Is that just so I know the context of that, that's determining how frequently we would like to meet and maybe a recurring date?
That's right, yes.
Okay. Yes, Sean.
I would suggest we ultimately would like to meet monthly if we can, at least to get things going, but respecting vacations in the summer. Why don't we plan to meet maybe in July and skip August and resume in September, if that works for everybody. I know it's always gonna be a challenge with vacation. And I guess it's a matter too of working around staff vacation times. But I think to maintain momentum, monthly for most of the year, I think is required.
I'd concur.
Yeah, I'd agree. Any other thoughts? Okay, do we want to put a motion to have monthly meetings and skip August meeting for summer?
Now, I'm sorry, can I just query that?
Yep.
So is it, does Smith Falls shut down for July or for August?
Neither.
Oh, sorry.
We're it all year round.
Does
But there may-
council not meet?
We
Or,
may, you know, we may skip one meeting through the summer, but generally we keep on.
Wow,
There's enough
okay.
business to do so, but I guess it's a matter of looking to Carl and Mary and Richard for vacation schedules. Is that how does that work for the three of you?
Yeah, so I think there will always be throughout the summer there, I think just about every week there will be at least two of us in the office. So we can certainly we can work around your schedule. The three of us don't all need to be at every meeting. I think we will be divvying up based on workload, but and sort of what's on the agenda. But certainly we look for and welcome the committee's direction as to time of day, which day of the month works for everyone. I know even, and I'm grateful that we're able to put this meeting together because we had a lot of we all had some schedules to work around. So certainly I welcome your feedback and hopefully we can find a meeting time that works for the group. But yes, don't worry about our vacations. We'll work with you on that.
Okay.
But Madam Chair, we need to accommodate your vacation if you've got stuff scheduled for the summer.
I tend to schedule my vacation around my work, which is probably not the best for my mental health, but so it's not an issue at this point, so.
Okay, and for everyone else, if we go roughly, is Tuesdays, I guess, work for everybody? Generally?
Tuesdays, Rio has his board meeting on the third Tuesday in the afternoon.
So we'd have to choose the first, second,
Mhm,
or fourth.
yeah.
Is there any other thoughts on one that might be best?
Tuesdays do work fine for me. Generally afternoon, Mondays are definitely out, so Tuesday would work better. And I'm not sure about, maybe depend on the work that comes out of today's meeting and preparing for the next meeting. So if we figure a month is fine, do we schedule for the second Tuesday in July?
That works for others. Steve, Sue, are you guys okay with that too?
I'm
it
flexible.
does, yep.
Okay,
No,
okay. So perhaps we can,
Are we, sorry, are we thinking that we will all continue to be virtual? Or in person or dual?
So as of our next meeting, we will have the option of all the above.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if we want, the council chambers are finished, we're moving back in next week. And so if we want to have it in person, which I think would be ideal, that it will be permissible. It'd be a matter of if people prefer to participate remotely, that flexibility is there.
I like to see that we have a chance to meet and physically get acquainted. Once we are okay with that, then I would be more in favor of virtual because of carbon saving.
So the 11th, would you like to plan to meet in person then? Or unless, again, if someone can't meet, then certainly meet. They come in on a hybrid virtual manner.
Yeah, I concur with your suggestion too. So would we think then the July meeting might be an in-person meeting, and then after that we go to virtual as of September and onward? Does that
Sounds
work?
good to me.
Okay.
Good.
Richard?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Richard.
I'm just thinking, so I just to recap, we're meeting in person on July 11th for our second meeting, but then onward in September, it'd be a hybrid model or virtual?
I would suggest hybrid because it's then we have the options.
Works for me.
I mean, I'll be at town hall, staff are at town hall. I know if Sue wants to come in, she's not burning any carbon in her car.
Sue is cycle in.
Sure, you can cycle in.
Too much there, Peter. But we might between the three of us here get a bus from Port Elmsley.
I can pick people up in my electric car too.
Okay.
How many? We should hands up here. How many have electric cars? I know it's an aside, but
Oh, wow.
holy Toledo. Okay, so like, excuse me. Yeah, I too favor the hybrid. The more chance to meet in person, the better.
Could I just ask, would it be possible to meet at 1 o'clock instead of 2?
It's fine with me.
I have a regular recurring meeting at 2 o'clock. And
I'd like 1 o'clock also.
Yeah, 1 o'clock works for me as well.
Although to Steve's point, Steve, you get 2 o'clock on the second Tuesday of every month, then we probably should look at a different time. Because we're likely going to go more than an hour most times.
Just kind of say the hybrid model would need some buffer time.
So Steve, would 3 work better for you?
It's weird how my calendar is. I've got a block from 1 to 2, and then I've got 2 to 3. I mean, I've got an opening of 1 to 2, and I've got a block at 2 to 3. I could make an opening from 3 to 4. Then I have a call at 4. I could move my 4 o'clock. I own that meeting, so I could, probably if I hate to be selfish here, but I could do probably 3 o'clock better than I could do 1 o'clock if we wanted to go more than an hour.
Yeah, because we don't know sometimes, right? It may be an hour, may not be, but so I'm fine with 3.
Yeah, me as well.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much,
okay too,
everyone.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so it sounds like we have our timing down and our format down. Do we want to have a motion for that as well? Okay,
I'll move it. Okay.
Sean moving it and
I'll second it.
You're
okay,
second.
Peter seconding it. Thank you. All in favor? Okay. We're good.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to confirm that real quick, Madam Chair. So I have the second Tuesday of each month at 3 o'clock. We're going to meet in July, skip over August, and resume monthly in September.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank
As
you.
a hybrid model. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. And so considering the time, should we be perhaps looking at the rest of the items at the next meeting? Or can we continue?
Procedurally, you have up to 2 hours.
Okay. Or is everyone okay to proceed?
I'm still fine if that works.
I am also.
Okay. Okay, then we'll continue on.
At least get part of the agenda, I guess. And that's-
Yeah. So then item 3 is guiding policy and report review. So the Interdepartmental Panel on Climate Change 6th Assessment Report. So is there someone that can speak to that? IPCC report? Richard?
That's me. Correct. We're all familiar with the IPCC report? Yes or no?
Sorry, you were cutting out there.
I'm asking if we're all familiar with the report.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should give an overview if we already are. Are we familiar?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I do know that in March 2023, they actually have a synthesis report out. So that's the latest report that's been out this year. A synthesis report basically is a combination of the working group, the 3 working groups, which is the physical science basis of climate change, and the working group number 2 is the impacts, adaptation, and ability that came out, and the working group 3 is the mitigation of climate change. So all those 3 working groups were synthesized in this report for the IPCC for climate change this year. I'm not going to go in detail about the report since it's just an overview of what that report is for. So that report would be used to help us make certain decisions for our own community. It's kind of like I guess, information that would be used to implement for the town of Smith Falls.
And then just, I did attend a webinar on that report, and I think there's a recording of it that
Speaks as a vision.
Sorry,
I
Richard.
didn't hear, sorry. Pardon me?
I was just mentioning that I remember attending a report on that, like a webinar on that, and I think it was recorded and is available for anyone who might want to view that after the fact. I wonder if we could link that in the minutes to.
I think
Yeah, that'd be great. Either that. Yeah, either that or the report itself, either or, whichever is more accessible for us.
Or both.
Yeah, both of that.
Both, yeah. The next thing would be the official plan, and the official plan speaks to the core vision for Smith Falls, and it obviously talks about the environmental vision, which is, healthy and sustainable community at a broad level. And some smaller parts, it talks about a community and neighborhood livability vision, which also is part, I guess, intertwined with our mandate. Now, they have a component in there called the measurable environmental sustainability, which talks about these steps that we'd want to achieve for our town. So we have the green building policy, the water conservation policy, and recycling and zero waste. Those are some of the policies in OP that kind of speak to what our mandate is looking for, as well as environmental leadership, policies on vegetative cover, significant wetland, fish habitat, all those sort of things that makes Smith Falls. Another policy that we would be working with is a tree canopy and preservation policy that I think we're all familiar with. Now, it starts in the first page. It talks about a goal of 30% tree canopy cover. Now, I think that would require a bit of monitoring, but that's something we can address at a later date in terms of how we can fulfill that objective. It also talks about interdepartmental coordination, and that's something that would be done at a town level in terms of how the different departments can work together to achieve these objectives, as well as having a tree inventory that would be part of an ongoing basis for monitoring, as well as a tree canopy assessment, which would be an assessment of the town-owned trees. Again, all of that would be something that would be an ongoing basis, as well as promotion, which would be promoting the positive benefits of having a tree canopy. In the policy itself, they also mentioned something called an Urban Forestry Advisory Committee. Now, that does not exist at this point, but I think under our mandate, it would be attached to what we would be doing in terms of just giving giving feedback and recommendations to improving the canopy. So we'd be functioning as the urban forestry committee as in a way, if that makes sense. And the report also has a Schedule B, or the policy, and it talks about different areas that could be improved in terms of the canopy. So the downtown core is one, areas with a high value, with high traffic areas and gateway areas such as Union Street or Jasper Avenue from Long Beach Park. So it does cover a lot of things that we could tackle in our objectives for this group.
Don, did you have an addition?
Yeah, just, I guess, if we can have those reports, have the tree canopy policy shared with the committee, we can look at it before the next meeting.
Yeah,
But
for
also,
sure.
but also maybe some insight into site alteration bylaws, which would be sort of the extension of a tree canopy policy would be, do we then start to move on to private property with limitations on site alterations for development? And so I think it fits hand in hand. So I think we'll obviously have a broader discussion on in the future, but I know there are examples out there that we want to all look into before we discuss it further.
And so just so that I'm clear, when we're talking about the official plan, is there a review that we're trying to coordinate with, or this is generally taking a look at it to see when there is a review, what feedback this group might provide, or how, just so I'm clear?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. So right now we're in the process of updating our official plan. So in terms of reviewing it, your feedback would allow us to know what areas could be improved further in terms of our environmental leadership and our environmental goals. So I guess that would be a component for the group in terms of just reviewing these high-level policy documents.
Interesting.
Susan?
Yeah, just a few things, and I'm sorry, it's a bit sort of meandering here, but one, I'm having a hard time hearing you, Richard. It's like there's a lot of breakup or something. And so I don't know what that is, but anyway, if that could be addressed. Another point, and I excuse my ignorance here, but I don't know if Smiths Falls has or would be looking at doing a natural assets plan. So it's not just tree canopy, but other natural assets. And I respect it's, a very urban center, but I don't know that there aren't other things that could fit into that, or maybe that becomes something that we recommend in our work. I just don't know. And now I've lost track of the third one I was going to say. Sorry, apologies.
It's okay. I think Richard had a
Oh,
comment. And then-
sorry, I do. I have it now. And I know this is an odd situation here, but when Smiths Falls does its official plan, for other municipalities in Lanark County, they have to comply with the county's official plan. What does Smiths Falls, does yours go straight to the province? Okay.
Okay, did you, Richard, and then Carl?
Well, let's do Carl first since he had his hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Carl.
Oh, sorry. Yes. First, I was just answering the question that was already answered about the official plan. Yes, it does go to the province. We're not part of the county's planning environment in that way. The second question for you, Susan, natural assets plan. We don't have one. Could you fill me in on what it is and what it does? I think in an urban area, I think there's that's more of a, or certainly a special requirement and interest and focus on identifying and protecting these assets. So I'm interested to know a little bit more.
And so I'm I'm not a planner, Carl, but so broadly, it's my understanding it's where you basically take account for all of your natural assets, and that can include wetlands. It can include grasslands, whatever, right? Ponds, that sort of thing. And you are looking at it specifically with the intention of maintaining or increasing nature-based climate solutions. So it can get into issues of flooding and, natural means of addressing flooding, rainwater gardens, all sorts of things that way, right? So, without getting into more detail, is that
Did
So-
Richard have something to add to your?
I think a natural access plan is a great idea. I'm intrigued to see what the town would be including in that plan. For instance, the waterway, the canal is an asset for the town, but also it's what's the word? It's also managed by Parks Canada, so I don't know if that would be a partnership that we'd have to work with, but it does come to mind.
right? Maybe it's just something we look at through the course of figuring out our climate plan for Smith Falls.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm visible. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. I think we do have a very important nature asset here, that of the Swale. It is a provincially significant wetland, probably the most accessible and hence most educational potential wetland in the whole watershed area of the Rideau.
Yep.
Yeah. And when it comes to the roundtable, I'll share some more things. But that definitely is one. The town should really have to promote, protect, and get people to be educated about. Yeah.
And I just, I'm wondering if I was under the understanding that we were going to be working on a climate action plan of some kind. And would that then perhaps become a part of that?
Mhm.
That, okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. And then the official plan would, because I know the health unit having provided feedback to various plans, official plans, transportation plans and whatnot, we often will refer to climate change throughout the feedback that we give on those plans. And often they will link back to other plans. I think there's a lack of climate change plans, so I think it's great that Smith Falls is actually looking at creating something, and it would be a good place to house all of those pieces and connect the dots. Yes, Sue?
Not to belabor this discussion right now, because I'm sure we will have it later. But it's been recommended to a few people I talk with that in fact a climate action plan be wholly integrated into an official plan. Not just in pieces, not just in a little bit of language, but that the whole plan be included in the official plan. So, and I don't, what is the timing for the town's official plan?
Richard?
So currently we're just beginning the process. We've just completed a land use study and we're looking at public feedback in terms of what they would like to see in the official plan. So we haven't exactly drafted any portions of the plan yet. So incorporating, let's say, the climate action plan is a possibility, but it have to be something that we have to look at the long term because we don't exactly know the scope and the range that the plan has yet, right? So it's still in draft stages, or not even yet for the action plan, but it's still becoming a plan.
Right, this could be great opportunity then.
It could be, yeah. I think it's a good time.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion on item 7? Number 3? No. Okay, so on to 8, project updates. Partners for climate protection. Oh, wait, I missed one. There's one that Sue added there. Correct? Did you want to speak to?
I would, yes. So it is literally as of yesterday, the county has released its draft climate action plan, and it is out for review now and comment. And it's now, just as of today, been decided to extend that review period to the end of August, which is meant to allow municipalities that do shut down for, a month or whatever to be able to get comment in. So I certainly would love to see this committee contribute to reviewing that plan. The broad intention when it started now a couple of years ago was that the community part of it would influence the whole of the community of Lanark County and Smiths Falls. So I think it's important that this committee understand it and contribute back to whatever it sees of value in getting changed in the county plan. So.
Susan, Richard, did you want to add to that discussion?
Yes, I was just thinking, are we saying that we're going to add the review of the action plan for Lanark County on our next agenda for the July meeting in person? Is that correct?
It's due by the end. The comments are due by the end of August.
Right,
So,
but we're meeting. Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Is there an opportunity? What's your feeling, Sue, with that plan? Is it something that members should maybe take a look at prior to the meeting and come prepared for that?
yes.
And
Definitely.
so that might be an action for us. Mary?
I was just going to say, as part of my working group follow-up tomorrow, I can circulate that plan. And as Richard said, I can add it to our July 11th agenda for committee discussion. So you'll have several weeks to review.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And just a further question too, and we're so new here, I know, but I have no idea what our authority might be as a committee. Are we an advisory committee? And do we then, like in reviewing the county's plan, would we be making recommendations to Smiths Falls Council to then submit to the plan? Or would we be just doing this on our own? I guess I'm not even sure that I'm asking the right questions here. So
Sean's got a,
Yeah, I believe as an advisory committee, we would make a recommendation, even wording to council for comment.
So we need to have that to council by a certain date in order for council to then submit it to the county. Is that,
Yeah, with our next meeting would be plenty of time, I would
Okay.
think.
okay.
that's great. So do we have to do any motions for that?
No motions needed, Madam Chair.
Okay. Alrighty, so that's the end of that discussion. Sue, did you have anything else to add, or that's okay?
Good.
So project updates, Partners for Climate Protection, progress on the 2017 to present. Carl?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I actually have a PowerPoint presentation. Seeing the time, I'll get through this. I'll move through it fairly quickly. So just give me a moment, please. So I'm just going to do a quick screen share here. So this is a bit of an update that kind of highlights. Oh, sorry, I can't see the entire screen. I'm just trying to. I should have figured out all of the Zoom details so by now. Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Can you make it full screen, Carl?
Yeah.
Oh.
It
Presentation
it
view
looks
down at
full
your bottom right.
Oh, it in presentation mode, you mean?
Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
There we go. So can you all see here?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so just a quick summary on the Partners for Climate Protection. That is a program that's set up with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and that's one of the key one of the main reasons we're here and what we're going to be working on over the next couple of years. And I think it's important. Certainly, the FCM recognizes that municipalities within our control or influence are responsible for roughly half of total greenhouse gas emissions in Canada. So the town has signed up for, council's adopted a resolution, I believe in 2019, to join the Partners for Climate Protection. It is a free networking group. Over 400 municipalities are involved, and it gives access to networking venues, events, case studies, and other resources. And also, I think importantly too, there's access to funding opportunities, and Richard's going to speak to that briefly in a moment. The plan is centered around, the program is centered around 5 milestones that we're going to work through, and ultimately that's going to result in a local action plan that can be implemented and demonstrated to work and achieve our climate reduction, our carbon reduction goals that we're going to be setting. So,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm not seeing the slides advancing. I'm not sure if I have a different view, but
okay.
I'm assuming you were advancing them and I'm just not seeing that.
I am advancing them. Just I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
Okay, now we see.
Yeah.
We see your slides on the left, and so it's not in presentation mode, I think, for us.
Oh, okay. So do you see them advancing right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe I'll just quickly stick with this here. So milestone 1, baseline emissions and inventory. That's what we would be starting with, but that helps us track and anticipate emissions, energy use, and also gives us a baseline so that we can measure how we've been doing over the time. So the Partners for Climate Protection outlines a variety of things that need to be done. Some of that work has already been completed by town staff, and some of which hasn't, and that we'll be working on in the coming months. So just a quick headline of where we are right now. So the CAO delivered a report Chief Administrative Officer delivered a report in September of last year outlining a baseline of 2017, and then a little bit of progress to 2021 based on a Honeywell Energy Facility Renewal Report and an energy audit, and supported by work that staff have done in terms of mining our utility bills and other information. So it has been assessed that as a corporation in 2017, 1,827 tons of greenhouse gas emissions were produced by the town, roughly half from water and wastewater, and that number has decreased slightly to 2021, and that's been partly a product of a more efficient town hall complex based on renovations we've done, switching over to LED lights for our street lights and a couple of other things. So while progress is not substantial, it is in the right direction. And what's been a little bit more substantial is we've reduced our energy consumption measured in gigajoules by about 13% between 2017 and 2021. So in 2017, the baseline emissions inventory has outlined sort of where the emissions by sector in the town, and that has changed slightly to 2021. And unfortunately, with my screen view, it's not as easy to tell. But yes, natural gas is by far the most significant energy used by the town. So, and then and then we can see that in 2021, the baseline emissions and inventory and as well as the energy type. So that hasn't changed substantially. We can send for the committee's information these slides too, if you wanted to have a look at this afterwards.
Please, yep.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
So more work does need to be done on to satisfy milestone 1. We need to really get we need to identify the community emissions stationary, and that includes stationary energy, transportation, solid waste, industrial processes. As Susan mentioned earlier, the Lanark County's developed a climate action committee, and they've been working on this. We can certainly work with them and not reinvent the wheel, and that will be an action item for staff between now and the next meeting. Is we're going to get a handle on how we can obtain that information and update. We can update you on that, and hopefully and that'll help us get to where we need to get to in terms of developing a business as usual forecast. So that's where we expect our emissions to go in 10 years if we don't do anything. Milestone 2, that's the next suite of actions that the committee is going to need to take, and that includes we're recommending that or the Partners for Climate Protection are recommending that the targets be set for both corporate and community. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change recommends a 45% greenhouse gas reduction from a 2010 baseline by 2030, with carbon neutrality in 2050, and that is in order to limit warming at a global level to 1.5%. So here we'd be developing an emissions target that, of course, is ambitious yet realistic, and it would come accompanied with a suite of implementable plans, implement plans and policies and initiatives that would be identified. And I think that's really where some of the key work that we're going to be looking to you, the working group, for advice to really develop a Made in Smith Falls plan that works for our community. So just a very brief summary on what's going to be coming within the next weeks and months. Town staff will complete a corporate inventory, work with stakeholders to identify community-based emissions. We're hoping to do that this summer, develop that 10-year business as usual forecast, and then also develop and workshop with the working group greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets that would ultimately need to be presented to council, and that will help inform the climate action plan. So funding opportunities are periodically available as well. So we will be looking to tap funding resources to assist in this. Maybe bring in a consultant or a climate change coordinator or somebody to help us with this important project. And as always, we will continue to work with Lanark County and partner municipalities. We're not doing this on our own. There's a lot of communities around us who we're following the same journey, and ultimately we're on the same team to try to achieve these goals. So this is just a high level summary of sort of where we've been and where we need to get to in the next little while with respect to the Partners for Climate Protection. So ultimately, that is one of the key mandates of the working group is developing that climate action plan and guiding the fulfillment of those milestones. Some work has been started, and a lot of work is going to need to happen in the next little while, and we look forward to working with you on that. So I will pause my presentation there. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for that, Carl. That's very exciting.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, I do need to interject. It appears that we have lost quorum. Steve and Sean needed to step out. So I'll need to ask, unfortunately, that we proceed to adjournment and pick up these final items at our next meeting.
Okay. Okay. And what do we, if we don't have quorum, can we motion to adjourn?
If you don't have quorum, you're forced to motion to adjourn.
Okay.
So I'll have to skip to that item, but I do need a motion, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Perhaps can we share some news? It's not, I'm just looking at the round table thing there. Yeah.
Is it some procedural? I'm not
Yeah.
sure I can allow
It's not going to be part of the meeting, but just sharing some news. Yeah.
Sure. So if you'd like to maybe adjourn the meeting and then you can share your
Yeah,
news. real quick.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Sue.
Second,
Do we need a seconder? When
No,
you
we
move to
don't. Just
adjourn?
one motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah. Okay.
that's great. And so we can move on to discussion now. We're good?
Well, not to discuss, but Peter just wants to share a piece of
Okay.
information
Right,
with us
right,
and maybe
yeah.
the public then. will
Yeah,
have to-
we talk about natural assets. Roundtable and Rio is actually organizing 2 wetland awareness tour with Voyager Canoe. The first one is going to be on Saturday, June the 24th. And the second one is going to be on July the 22nd. Okay, these are free tours. We accept free will donation, okay? But it is on that basis, we try to remove the economic barrier so that people can understand more. Also, this Saturday at Lower Ridge Park is the Rideau Paddle Fest, where we have a lot of activities connected with the Voyager Canoe. But also, we have 100 tree seedlings to be given out. These are native trees for native garden. As well, along that line of carbon capture and so on, there is a workshop on soil food web presentation. And that would be at 1 p.m. at Kingsman's Pavilion in Lower Ridge Park. There are going to be plays, entertainment, all sorts of stuff happening this weekend at Lower Ridge. So come and join us, okay? So I just want to make use of this opportunity. Mary is going to be
Great.
part of the Voyager Canoe racing, aren't you?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Mm.
And Sue, you can still come and join after your trip. We have from 4 to 5, we actually have Voyager Canoe tug of war. If you don't know what that is, come down and find out.
Yes, it comes highly recommended. I've been a participant several years running for the town, and it's a good time. Lots of activities for the family. So
Is that available on your
What I
website,
would
or-
do is I'm going to send you a special invitation, okay, with
Okay.
detailed programs. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just wondering because if there's like a social media post, we might be able to boost
Yeah,
that
there
with the
is a
health unit.
there is a Facebook page too. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
forward that to the group. Okay.
Yeah,
great.
and I'll try and get that posted, shared with the